The way that you go about doing it, you don't play with Americans' lives, you don't play with their jobs, you don't do things haphazardly where you have to fire people, then
Can you name one thing you do differently?
One thing I do differently?
If you say
so now you're gonna make me in charge though.
No, I'm asking.
Okay.
You say you're against waste, fraud, and abuse. What would you consider the government to do that's wasteful today?
Okay, well then what I would do if I was looking for waste, fraud, and abuse is I would start in the Defense Department and at the Pentagon.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What are you talking about?
Yeah, y'all gotta bench Elon, man. Y'all gonna have to bench Elon. Elon is not gonna be long for this world as a major American political figure. I watched his interview with Fox. He said, during the interview, he said, I don't know why I have to do this. He's annoyed at the perch that he is on right now and the way he's being perceived. He's opened himself up to a level of scrutiny that I don't think that he's gonna be able to bear. I don't think so.
Well, his companies are certainly having a hard time.
Well, listen, I don't think we're going to have to pass the hat for Elon Musk. The guy's worth $300 billion. Do the math. If he put his money in tax-free government bonds, he would get $15 billion a year without touching the principal. So these setbacks that people are so concerned about, I wouldn't worry about it. I think it's patriotic what he's doing. I think that he's a disruptor. I think he is looking for fraud, corruption, and waste. And you know what?
So if you guys are unaware about what they're referring to, and I'm sure everyone's aware, they're referring to Elon Musk working with DOJ. If you guys don't know what DOJ is, it's the Department of Government Efficiency. The guy in the cowboy hat, because I don't really know him. It's my first time seeing him. He's basically saying that the GOP needs to, and I quote, bench Elon Musk because he doesn't think that Elon Musk can handle, I guess, the job. I'm unsure if Van Lathan is right or left leaning. And the one with the green tie is saying like, no, Elon Musk is doing an amazing job. He should stay. So on and so forth. This is a very interesting discussion because Elon Musk he's more so new to the political realm. So I'm excited to see why they support him, why they don't support him. Let's get into this. If
we find fraud, corruption, and waste, and we end it, then we have more money for hospitals. We have more money for education. We have more money for infrastructure. Is that a bad thing?
I'll tell you what is not.
Let me tell you what is actually doing that, but there's not a lot of evidence.
I'll tell you what is bad and what is not patriotic is calling Mark Kelly a traitor. He called him a traitor today for having gone and visited Ukraine, which many Republicans and Democrats in Congress and in the Senate have done in the last several years. Mark Kelly is a naval aviator. He flew missions in the Gulf War. He has logged over 5,000 hours flying for the Navy. He then went on to be the pilot for the space shuttle. He serves in Congress. Elon Musk has absolutely no right, who has never served this country, who serves a president who made up a story about bone spurs so he could avoid the draft, has absolutely no right to call Mark Kelly, who is a patriot, who has served this country to the point of risking his life, and calling him a traitor. That is something we should all condemn.
I don't like that kind of language from either side, and it's gotten out of hand. I think that the discourse now...
I've had to do this a lot of times on the show, but like, I guess it's very easy to say either side to every single thing, but in response to what she said, what do you say about what Elon has to say?
Well, first of all, I would never denigrate somebody who served our country and call them a traitor unless I had material evidence that they were actually a traitor.
So if you guys don't know what this video is really about, there's someone in this who's in the frame. His name is Scott Jennings. I think he's right leaning, honestly, because he be going off in these videos. And I really watched him for the entertainment aspect of it. I think you guys will really enjoy this because he's going to go off. He hasn't said anything yet, but that's usually how it goes. He will wait a few minutes. He'll let everyone talk. He really comes in towards the end. Then they just start going crazy. So I'm excited. I don't know why I'm excited. I'm excited to see that. Let's continue.
So I think that Elon Musk is not a politician. He's not somebody that is what we would say politically astute. But I think he serves a great purpose in uncovering fraud, corruption, and waste, and I think it's a patriotic act on his part.
Look, I spent 5 years in City Hall working on government efficiency projects, and here's my advice for Elon. It's one thing to talk about efficiency, but what people actually care about, as you know, sir, as a local official, they care about efficacy. So if you look on the DOJ board, it just shows how much they're cutting from the federal government? How about a board that shows how long passport times are taking, that shows how quickly people in the Veterans Affairs are getting their benefits? That's what people actually care about. And if he does that board and shows that he's making progress on that, that's showing that government is actually working for people. I think everyone here can get behind that.
Scott?
I think on the entitlement issue, which you played, the president is in charge. He has made it perfectly clear he is not touching Social Security, Medicare, and even Medicaid, other than to say if there is fraud in any program, he'd like to root out the fraud. That's period. He's the president. The buck stops with the president. He's been clear about that since he started running in 2015.
I mean, Republicans are getting ready to cut a lot from Medicare.
Well, you call it cuts. They're calling it could be slowing the growth of the program or rooting out fraud, but that's different than cuts.
Here's the reason. Here's the reason I have a lot.
$880 million worth of fraud.
Yeah, and I have a lot of reason to doubt what you're saying because
let me tell you something. There's a huge able-bodied population in this country that should not be on welfare. That is a true story.
Okay, first of all,
well,
welfare,
that's actually not true.
Hold on a second. Welfare is not the biggest driver of this, actually. But what I'm saying is that DOJ has put all this money on the board, and they've said, "Oh, this is waste, fraud, and abuse." And when you really look at it, they're just programs that that Elon and the president and random 20-something-year-olds don't like. So when you say fraud and abuse, there's not a lot of evidence.
The first word is usually waste, and they consider it to be waste.
Do you think
they are not actually doing that? When Congress authorizes money for a program or a program is duly authorized, that's not waste, fraud, and abuse. That's just something you don't like.
Abby, everybody wants to find waste, fraud, and abuse until somebody actually does it.
Do you think people...
This is the problem. This is the problem. They're actually saying, okay, maybe this is wasteful.
No, hold on for a second.
And then Washington goes crazy.
So here's the big debate that they're having. The leftist point of view is saying that it's not actually waste, fraud, and abuse. The services they're cutting are useful services. The right side is saying, the right side is saying that they are fighting waste. You just don't think it's waste. But if the president thinks it's waste, then it's waste. Fundamentally, the big difference is about what you think is moral and immoral. The right believes that Donald Trump has a moral, ethical code. And in this instance, Elon Musk has a moral, ethical code to do what's right for the people. Whereas, in my opinion, the left believes that they do not have a moral and ethical code to do what's right. That's the big dividing point. Scott Jennings fundamentally believes that Donald Trump, or at least the GOP, will fundamentally not cut anything that will hurt people. He fundamentally believes that the right is doing things to make people's lives better, whereas the left in this instance is saying that they aren't doing that. Let me know what you guys think. That's kind of where I'm seeing it clash. He's saying that if they cut it, then it must be an important cut. And they're saying, well, it's not an important cut. And now they're just going back and forth on it. But let's continue.
Untrue. It's been done. The Clinton administration was able to put together an
30-something years ago.
Right, but the point of it is the way that
never happened. It's been
done. But the way that they went about it was to study it for 6 months and then to take a longer time to understand which government jobs needed to be rooted out. He fired a bunch of people. He ended with a budget. It's been done. It's just the way that you guys are doing it.
I know. And the way that we're doing it is that you don't want us to do it. In 2019, we spent $4.4 trillion as a government. Last year, we spent $6.2 trillion. The government's gotten more expensive and much larger over the last 5 years. The only question Republicans have is, does it have to be this large and does it have to be this expensive? That's the question. And Elon's finally trying to cut into it. And the Republicans in Congress need to help.
Well, you guys should start it in your own house because your president drove up the deficit as much as anybody ever has, maybe more than anyone.
And why? What happened at the end of Trump? Any memory of it?
I do remember. Even before then, though. Even before that, though. Everybody's got Google. So the reality of it is this. If no one that I know, is against finding waste, fraud, and abuse in the government. However, the way that you go about doing it, you don't play with Americans' lives, you don't play with their jobs, you don't do things haphazardly where you have to fire people, then
Can you name one thing you'd do differently?
One thing I do differently?
You say
you're going to make me in charge of those.
No, I'm asking.
Okay.
You say you're against waste, fraud, and abuse. What would you consider the government to do that's wasteful today?
Okay, well then what I would do if I was looking for waste, fraud, and abuse is I would start in the Defense Department and at the Pentagon. I would start with...
Whoa. What are you talking about? What are you talking about here? What are we talking about here? You know, I wasn't going to say anything. But come on, bro. Don't be attacking the nation's defense. Nah, I'm not going to let that slide, man. I'm not going to let that slide. What do you mean you would start in the defense sector, bro? Why? And here's the thing. You say that you don't want to upset people's lives. You don't want to disrupt people's lives. Let's say you are them and you do start in the defense sector. The defense sector employs most of the people in the executive branch. So if you start there, you start cutting, guess what you will automatically do? Cut jobs. Isn't that what you're against Elon Musk doing? So instead of you cutting jobs over here, you're just going to cut even more jobs over here? Because you could say, oh, I'm going to get rid of defense contracts. What is that going to do? Cut jobs, and it's going to lower the nation's defense. So you would be doing the same thing that Elon Musk is doing. You would just be doing it in a different department. Because people are mad at him for getting rid of jobs. So to answer that, you're going to get rid of jobs in a different department? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somehow you're going to get rid of $1 billion in the defense sector without cutting one job. Maybe you can do it. But I don't see how you can possibly do it. But anyways, let's continue. I won't say nothing else.
With the defense industrial complex of America, and I would look there.
I think
for
Elon
all
and
of
you
the
were in
people-
agreement on that.
Well, he hasn't.
They
so
are.
the question is, when are they going to get around to it?
President
they're starting
already
off
told
with
them to do
firing
it. I don't-
park
But Scott,
rangers.
but hold on. One of the other
They already
things,
started looking at
you
the
started your
Pentagon.
comment by saying the president's in charge. He's not going to touch Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid. That's where all the money is,
It's
Scott,
true.
which is why
We're fighting over 28%.
No, wait, he said
Okay.
he said he
Okay.
wasn't going to cut entitlements.
No.
They
I'm
are going to
telling
look for
you-
fraud in Medicaid.
Bruce,
They are going to look for
I'm
fraud
telling you
in
what
Medicare.
Scott said. Scott
Okay.
said that he wasn't going to touch it. Elon said, correctly, that's where all the money is. So if you guys actually want to produce savings, you are going to have to touch it.
Actually, we started this.
They will not cut
We
benefits.
started this
They will not
segment.
cut
What
benefits.
point
Wait, we started this segment
is that gonna
talking
be
about the
told to the
fact
American
that the
people?
president's closest aide, the guy who's attached at the hip to him, Elon Musk, called an American hero a traitor today.
Okay, but you said that already.
No, because you haven't
What is
condemned
that?
it.
What does that got to do
Because
with?
that's what this segment
what
was
is that-
about,
what
actually,
is
and
that-
you haven't
what
condemned
does
it.
that got to
Instead,
do
let's
with
talk
this?
about what this
because
is
you want to
actually
talk
doing.
Hold on
about
a second.
something else
Anna,
instead of
he
condemning
did-
what is
I
condemnable.
will say that Bruce did, well, maybe I shouldn't go so far as to say condemn, but you said that
He definitely did condemn it. I remember he didn't say I condemn this, but he said, I would never call someone who served that phrase. I consider that condemning, but different perspectives.
do not condone
I don't like it.
that kind of
Bruce
language.
basically said chill.
So
I don't like it.
he did say that, but
Let's talk what this is actually doing. I think the people who are paid to ID bodies of people killed in action who can't work right now are not waste, fraud, and abuse. I think that these kind of things that we're seeing, the people who oversee our nuclear stockpile are not waste, fraud, and abuse. These mistakes can't happen. It's too critical to our
The
country.
veterans who we promised we would protect.
We will
never.
never spend unless some administration has the guts to see this through. We will never ever spend less. We will never have a smaller government.
I take
Everything
your point.
has a constituency
I take your
in
point
Washington.
about finding the spending that you want to cut, but I think there's no question, even Republicans agree, and we talked about this last week, this has been done in a haphazard way to the point where the president himself had to hear it from his cabinet secretaries who were asking, what's happening at the VA? Why are you cutting all these people? The transportation secretary said they were trying to cut air traffic controllers.
I hope the cabinet. I hope the cabinet and Elon.
They had to speak up
work well together. The
it
cabinet
wasn't
just
being
got
done
there,
well.
but ultimately, this is not a conversation that can be put off forever. And I feel like this is what Washington does. They try to just push it back as far as they can, and then we'll get the next guy in, and maybe it won't happen. That's how you go from $4.5 trillion to
But
$6.2
Scott,
trillion.
even Republicans
go.
have begun saying that it needs to be a scalpel, not a sledgehammer.
Yes,
and
and
it
as-
has been a
and as-
sledgehammer.
You know what's crazy? I actually said that they should use a scalpel. I said that, and people disagree with me. But now that a president is saying it, or now that the GOP is saying it, people are starting to agree. And that's why I'm saying that a lot of people in this discussion are being unfair. I try my absolute hardest to be as fair as possible. And sometimes when I am fair and say that they should use a scalpel, people will not agree with me until they hear someone that they like say it. So when Trump says it, you agree that they should use a scalpel because he's saying that now. When the GOP says it, when his secretaries are saying it, they are saying it now. You agree, but when I said it, people disagree, and I don't think that's fair. But I think the heart of this discussion is that Scott Jennings fundamentally just trusts the GOP and I forgot her name. Abby Phillips just doesn't trust the GOP. That's really what's going on here. He trusts that they'll do the right thing. They don't think he'll do the right thing. And they're just fighting on their ideals at this point. But when I say something in my videos and people just disagree with me because they haven't heard someone that they like say it, I don't think that's a fair thought. I don't think that's fair at all. Because I'm not trying to push a narrative. I'm not trying to push leftist ideas or conservative ideals. I'm just being honest here. I'm as honest and as fair as I can possibly be. And I'm just asking that people who watch my videos are the same. But anyways, it's LFR JoJo. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.